from ClarkWoods.com. This is Horribly Off Topic, episode number 77. I am Chris.
And I am Steve.
You are Steve, and we are now going to... All right, it wasn't quite synchronous.
Mine was better.
It wasn't quite synchronous. You like that? You like that? The PBR there?
Yeah.
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 I mean, it's from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
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 A.
No.
What?
Not A. That's Canadian.
Not A. They're close enough, aren't they?
Well, so are we. Like as far as the proximity to the Canadian border.
Okay, wait. Do Nova Scotians, do your sort of Atlantic Islander Canadians, do they have the same A as
they do say
as your middle of the nation?
Wasn't Trailer Park Boys that show that's on Netflix but started in Canadian television? Wasn't that based in Nova Scotia?
I don't know.
I thought it was.
I haven't seen the show.
It's really funny, but it's
long?
one of those like.
Is it only 10 hours?
It's more than way more than 10 hours.
And if you out there, listener, don't get my reference to only 10 hours, that was the way in which Steve pitched to me the show Making a Murderer.
Not Canadian.
Yeah.
We're alienating our very limited Canadian audience.
Yeah.
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 Stop it.
That was I in the middle of watching, because I forget what episode I was on, maybe 3 or 4 of Making a Murderer when we recorded last week. So I don't think I'd started looking things up, but by episode 3 or 4, I was like, I don't think anything is really going to spoil anything for me. So I did happen upon at least a joke about a Making a Murderer drinking game in which you're supposed to drink every time a Dassey or an Avery says "yeah."
Okay. That's like worse than like the ones that we have for this show.
It is way worse. And then from then on, I was just imagining.
Speaking of, I'm going to get Becky's going grocery shopping, and I will have a cookie soon.
Will it be moist?
No, well, it's going to be a gingerbread cookie.
Okay. Will it?
Hopefully, it'll have one piece on it. No, I'm not sold on the fact that like if you got a North Dakotan or a Wisconsinian in a room with you. I like it when you make up words.
I am a creative writing teacher. I teach the writing creatively. Wisconsinian. That's not right. You don't think that's
know.
Right? A North Dakotan, Wisconsinian. I think that's close. I think you could probably get one of them to say A.
They might say A, but I don't recall, like, in the 10 hours of Making a Murderer and watching the guys from Red Letter Media who are from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I don't hear them saying A, so I don't assume that they're Canadian.
Did you see Ken Kratz on his cell phone at all during...
Oh, my God. Like, I didn't talk about that yet.
You did not talk about it because you were trying not to spoil anything for me.
That was like my favorite. Like... because I hated that guy through the entire the entire trial
and his mustache.
Like he comes out and he's like, "Hey, if there's gonna be anybody that's below the age of 16, they probably should leave the room because this is some pretty graphic stuff." Then why say it on fucking television?
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
God.
Here's my problem with like that initial thing.
Right.
Like he's like, "Oh, we got Brandon Dassey's confession, and I'm gonna tell it all on the television right now."
Yeah.
Like. How is that something that you should be, as a responsible prosecutor, able to do? Because you're basically tainting the entire jury pool.
Absolutely. Yeah. No,
Anybody with a television, and that's everybody in Wisconsin, most likely.
Yeah. And
even the very poor have a fucking shitty television.
Right.
And some of them have a good television.
Yeah. And shitty everything else.
Yes.
And then in the second to last episode, because the second to last episode is where they focus on Brendan's trial, when they bring Brendan's cousin, the girl, Kayla, I think it's Kayla, onto the stand, who was 14 at the time, and they have that. In terms of spoilers or in terms of stuff that like didn't come out for the longest time.
I don't know. If you haven't watched Making a Murderer at this point, then where the fuck are you? Chris watched it, for Christ's sake. And he doesn't watch anything.
I don't watch anything. No, it's not spoiler. That's the wrong word. But in terms of things that they withheld for that long in the series, I don't remember hearing anything about Kayla, about the cousin, as basically the corroborating
witness for Brendan's story. And then she gets up on the stand and she says that she made it all up. And of course, they start showing interviews with people on the prosecution who are saying, well, or with Teresa Halbach's brother, where they're all expressing the opinion that the Averys and the Dasseys have all gotten together and just coached everybody on what the story is.
Yeah, because they're really bright. They're all really bright. When him and his mother, what was the word that they couldn't figure out what it meant?
It wasn't yeah.
Definitely wasn't yeah. They use that for everything.
Yeah.
Like there's subtle communication in that word besides the word yeah.
Exactly. Well, and that comes up when Brendan is on the stand in that same episode where he says yeah, but they have to parse the whoever's doing the questioning at points has to parse that, because is he saying yeah like yes, or is he just saying yeah as in I heard you, or as in hello? And it does have
because it's everything.
It's everything.
It is the all-purpose Wisconsin word.
Yeah, well, when you get him on the phone with his mother earlier in the series, it is the way they greet each other.
Yeah,
often.
yeah.
Like the way we did a few minutes ago. Like it really is that. Here's my thing about the series. Well, aside, everyone knows my feelings.
What's the thing, Rich Voss?
Here's the thing. That's not Rich Voss. I don't know.
That's what he does say that a lot.
Yeah, but I don't know his voice well enough to have tried.
He kind of has a little bit of. Here's the thing, because he has like these fucking fake teeth.
Okay.
Because he was addicted to crack back in the day. This is not hearsay. This is something he has admitted.
He has admitted that he was addicted to crack.
He was addicted to crack, and his teeth were just garbage. So he got these fucking crazy fake teeth, and he has this fucking
like a lisp speech
slur,
impediment,
like
slur.
sort of like a whatever.
Here's the thing.
Okay, Rich. Well, he would probably rip us apart. I mean, as dumb as he is, he's very fucking quick.
Yeah.
And he's not like Dassey or Avery dumb. He's just dumb because he's just been living this like sort of like sheltered life of being a stand-up comic. I'm shutting the dryer off. I forgot
that might have been my favorite hyphenate that you've ever come up. Dassey-dumb or Avery-dumb. Like that's a that is a word we can now introduce into our parlance. It was interesting to see the way Brendan's lawyers in his trial lawyers,
they were saying how fucking dumb he was
without saying how fucking dumb they thought he was. Like some of the lawyers, I felt like earlier in the series, some of the lawyers were very clear, and of course they ask Steve about it, very clear about him not being very bright and whatever. They really dance around the topic of his intelligence if you really look at the way that the defense people work in that trial.
But in Brandon's trial, they don't dance around it very much at all, I don't think.
You don't think? Okay.
They're just like, yeah, he's a fucking moron.
Well, but yes, that's clear from...
I don't think they use those exact words.
That's
Your Honor, I'd like to have your permission to use the word fucking moron as much as I possibly can in this trial, because this man is dumber than fucking wet rocks. I don't know, a sack of wet rocks, a sack of wet, sack of wet shit. I don't know.
I don't know. I think a sack of wet rocks is funnier. I mean, partially because I think when you can make something funny without a swear, it's
a sack of wet crap.
A sack of wet crap.
It's not really a swear.
Do
you allow your girls to say crap? Is that okay?
I think crap is said around them because my dad can't. My dad needs a fecal.
No, I mean, no. Is it okay for them to say it?
I think it's become okay for them to say it by default because my dad needs a fecal substitute for shit. And
Dad curses constantly.
But when he tries to dial it back, I think it becomes crap.
Yeah.
And so crap. I don't think we don't encourage them to say crap, but I think crap has become.
It's like, I don't want to eat that crap.
I don't want to eat that crap. They would say that every meal. They're fucking picky.
Where do they get that from?
I don't know. I got no idea. This show was too long. No. No. I guess that's one thing I could be picky about. No, what I thought was the thing, to get back to my...
Before we went on the Rich Voss tangent.
My accidental Rich Voss impression. Is that it's one thing to watch the show and... There's two different questions I feel like come out of watching the show. One is, do I think do I or does the viewer think that they're guilty? And then the separate question is, did they get a fair trial? And I have different answers for those.
See, I don't necessarily think he's like, considering the evidence and the evidence that you have to do a little research to find out. Considering all of that, I still can't say beyond a reasonable doubt that person was guilty.
Yes,
because there's too much of like the Lenk and fucking Colburn being there. There's too much of like, okay, they searched his fucking trailer 7 times, and for some reason,
couldn't find
the
a key?
8th time they found the key. No.
Yeah.
And then like, oh, okay, they killed her in the garage. Where the fuck was all the blood? I'm sorry. There should have been, like, even if they wrapped her up.
Again, these
Dexter
guys
style.
are, generally speaking, dumber than a bag of wet crap.
Yeah, but wet shit.
Wet shit. Dumber than a bag of wet shit. How would they clean up the blood splatter and all of that?
Yeah, I mean, like, if they shot her in the head, there would be a lot of blood.
Yes.
And they would have had to have had a Dexter-like situation where there was like plastic wrap everywhere. And like if there was to get no blood on anything except for that one bullet that fucking Lenk found when they searched the garage fucking 6 months later.
Time?
Like in March.
Yeah. So there's that. Guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. That's the trial question. Do you think he? Because I'm with you. I don't. Especially with Brendan. The fact that Brendan was convicted makes absolutely no. I mean, I get it because of Kratz going on TV and as you said, tainting the whole damn jury pool. I understand based on the way our system works and the way our country is and the general quality of people in the universe. Like, I get why he was convicted, but I think it's dumb that he was convicted. I don't think he's guilty of anything except maybe being slow.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was definitely like railroaded by the police officers into making that confession. Like, because I make this comparison?
You alluded to the dog.
Like the dog.
I can't remember how much you talked about on the show versus when we were off the air.
Yeah, so like basically, I might have said it before, but when you train a puppy, you encourage good behavior and you discourage bad behavior.
Right.
So if they piss on something, you say no, and you have to make sure. And
sometimes you put their nose near it, right?
Yeah, I guess. So just say no or whatever. And then like if they piss like outside, like where you want them to, and immediately you give them positive reinforcement because that's what you want them to do more. Right. Like if they pissed outside or shit outside, you're like, yes, that's exactly what I want you to do. Like good boy or good girl or whatever.
Yeah.
So like with Dassey, they're basically like, don't lie to us. Yep. And then like, he's like, I'm not lying to you. This is what happened. And I was just playing PlayStation. And then I went over to the bonfire, and then I went home and talked to my mom and went to bed.
Yeah.
And they're like, don't lie to us. And he's like, I'm not like, they keep on saying, don't lie to us. And so when he says something else, like that bolsters what they want him to say, they say, that's good. And he's like, oh, okay. So all I have to do is just say things that they want me to say, and then I can get the fuck out of here because I've been here for fucking 3 hours.
Yeah, and of course he doesn't really understand, as somebody points out. I think in his trial episode, he doesn't really understand the difference between his lawyers and the cops. Like he's not making that intellectual leap. It's not really a leap for
the investigator that he had, or that Len Kaczynski or whatever, his first lawyer, like sent in. What I thought he was doing was to see if he could sway what Brendan was saying to something else or something like that, just to prove how malleable this kid's mind is.
Right. But here's the other. So guilt or innocence, right? Those are court terms. Do you think Stephen Avery killed her? Can we prove it? No, it doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like we can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he did it. But looking at the
looking at it, could you? I mean, you're outside of a court. You're on a podcast.
Yes, obviously. I think he could have.
Yeah.
But I like as much as like things have come out that he's kind of a shitbox, and I don't think he did. Like he was basically sitting on one of the possibly biggest windfalls that someone of his intellectual capacity could have ever had.
Yeah.
And I don't think you, like, even being that dumb, you would want to give up something like that.
Yeah, I don't think so either. The part that I have trouble with, and I'm going to throw out, I think, a quote here that I can't remember where I heard it from. Maybe it was on like MythBusters or something like that. A lot of the defense's case, and a lot of the case for Avery not having done it, relies on conspiracy. And the problem with conspiracies is that, the play again. This is, I forget where I got this from, but I tend to agree with it. The problem with conspiracy theories is that they fall apart when you realize that most human beings can't keep a secret, and that most human beings can't cooperate well enough to pull off the kind of conspiracy theories that we have out there. The JFK assassination, this stuff, this case.
I found a lot of things on the internet recently. I don't know if this is a new meme or if this has been around for a while, but like that jet fuel can't melt steel.
The 9/11 truther stuff.
Yeah, it's like, no, it can. I'm sorry. Like sorry.
Yeah, So and that's one that I haven't even gone down that rabbit hole because it's so disturbing.
Well, just watch Jesse Ventura's show or whatever.
I don't think I'm going to do that. I don't even
know. Yeah, don't. I haven't done it, so I'm just recommending that you do it, so I don't have to.
But if he didn't kill her, who did?
See, like a lot of what the prosecution was doing, and they were pretty smart in doing this, in saying, like, if you think that there's a conspiracy, then basically you are saying that you think the cops killed her.
Right.
So this isn't my theory, but I've heard it. It's probably somewhere on the internet. You can find it. I don't know where exactly it came from, but I've heard it from a couple of different places at this point. That it was basically a perfect storm of the cops pinning it on Avery and someone else doing it.
Yeah.
And because there's the other part would be like, why, like, Stephen Avery has full like run of the freaking auto salvage yard. Why in God's name would he not have smashed the car?
Oh, absolutely. That was one of those things early on in watching the series. I was like, how does this even continue?
Yeah.
That's such a slam dunk piece of evidence. Because, he may be dumb, but he knows his way around a salvage yard. He knows how to crush a car.
He went to the trouble of like completely cleaning up all the blood or making it so she didn't bleed anywhere apparently after he shot her. Yeah. But he didn't bother to smash the car.
What does he think? I mean, and so like trying to play devil's advocate or imagine the counter argument, is the counter argument that he didn't smash the car. He is guilty. He didn't smash the car because he knew that would incriminate him.
No,
like
I don't think he's even that dumb to think that, like, at least trying to get rid of the car or whatever, like, making it unrecognizable to what the car it was. I mean, they would have had to do a hell of a lot more work to find the car instead of just putting a couple sticks on it and being like, well, that's hidden, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's because that to me screams that it was driven onto the site and then just put there just to be like, okay, it's on the Avery site.
It's on the Avery place. Yeah.
So it's obviously him that did it. So I'm thinking that's, when they had that thing where Colburn had called in from his phone, not on the radio.
Right.
And
that was the end of one episode, wasn't it?
Yeah. And he was just like, hey, you know what? He says the plate number and the car. Mm-hmm. Like, as if it's right in front of him.
Right.
Like, how does he have that information? Was it given to him beforehand? And he's not very good on the stand explaining that he knew that beforehand.
Yeah.
So, if he had found the car before, he'd be just like, oh, okay, and then he kind of like brushes it off. It was like, oh, I was just confirming that was the correct thing because that's the one we're looking for, right?
Wink.
I
Yeah.
did just wink. You can't wink on a podcast.
Can't wink on a podcast. Well, that's what I was. I covered for you. I said wink.
But yeah, and then so I think him and Lank are just basically we need to pin this on Avery because if that guy goes to jail, we're okay.
Right. But but the person who committed the crime is still out there, and that brings to mind like the list of other. So you're not saying you don't think it's the cops that
I do not think it's the cops. I think there was a perfect storm. I think it might have
somebody
been
killed her.
I think it might have been the boyfriend or the roommate.
Right. Yeah.
The brother always seems a little weird when he's talking to the cameras.
He does.
He's just like, oh yeah, well it's it's sort of disappointing that that people think that they should be let out because they're obviously the people that killed my sister.
Yeah, and the only time I remember seeing him get emotional was during the sentencing hearing.
And then there's the whole thing about him and deleting him and the ex-boyfriend deleting
messages.
the messages on her phone. And then but there's also Bobby Dassey, which is Brandon's brother.
Right.
And I think Steven's brother-in-law.
Yeah.
They just seem they seem like their testimony kind of damns them.
Father?
I don't know if it's Brendan's father or
his brother,
or if it's another fucking half-wit breed, whatever.
Yeah,
some other sort of just malnourished brain.
Yeah. Single branch tree.
Yes,
that's
definitely. It goes straight up. I don't know. There might have been a little bit of I don't know, more than a little bit.
Hey, if the royal family can do it, why can't the?
Yeah, why not? But yeah,
but somehow it worked out all right for them. They're pretty attractive, all things considered, and not completely dumb.
Who's pretty attractive?
I guess the people that marry into the family are more attractive than the family.
I don't understand how this fucking Stephen Avery gets so much goddamn pussy.
I don't either.
I mean, there's people that I've known in my life that that have had less than stellar luck with women. Mm-hmm. And this guy just oh, well, fucking, I'm here. And there's just the lady's just I need to have this guy in me.
Big cock?
He might have,
maybe. I mean, is that part of what the inbreeding did? Were they trying to breed the biggest cocks in Wisconsin?
Maybe. That might have been. He might just have a fucking baby arm in his pants.
I wish.
And it just the word spread maybe when he was doing that thing where he was jerking off on the hood or whatever of his cousin's car, he was oh my god, it was the fucking biggest cock I've ever seen.
If I put cocks in and of itself is not a swear. I was gonna say breeding the biggest cocks in Wisconsin might be a good episode title, but
I don't know. Maybe
that's
we'd have trouble with fucking iTunes at that point.
No, I'm sure it would be fine. What the hell was my other question about this? And then we move on.
No, but still, you can't. I don't know. Well, he's dumb, so he might just say, "I have a huge cock" to somebody,
and they fall for it.
Well, not fall for it, but just be
fall onto it.
He's not. I don't think he has enough intelligence to lie to me effectively. So, I guess he's telling the truth. And so then, he just was a massive cock coming through, and they're like, "Oh, okay, well, we'll drop to my knees." Apparently,
the other conspiracy theories I read about were just very briefly today.
That the building was sprayed with thermite paint.
Yes, Jesse. Yeah, I think that's no. No, that that Steven's brothers might have done it. And then the weirdest one I saw, and I did not click on this link, I wish that I had, was this mother coming out and saying that she thought Hallbeck was still alive.
Really?
That was a headline I saw on one, because here's the thing. I finished watching the episode literally 5 seconds before we started recording.
Very, very quickly, recently.
I got up late this morning. I had 2 episodes left, and I wanted to get through it before the show today, but I was running behind. I even had just the audio of the last episode playing on the car ride. So I was trying to get through it. When I was watching the second to last episode, the penultimate, what a great word. And now
for the penultimate lap.
I was checking out some
Eddie
of
Irvine.
the links and stuff. But yeah, his mother apparently at some point came out and said she thought maybe Halbach was still.
There was certainly contact between the two cars. There was this fucking game. There was I couldn't, like you said, penultimate, and it fucking just put this in my brain, and I stopped listening to what you were saying. There was this PlayStation, like when PlayStation first came out, it came with this disc of like demos and like a bunch of other shit of games to play.
Yeah.
And one of them was like some like British Formula One racing thing, maybe. And then the announcer was like, and now the penultimate lap, and then like all these like weird, because like, you know, like when PlayStation and Saturn and PlayStation Saturn, I think, yeah, the disc based systems started becoming more prominent.
Yeah.
There was a lot more vocal tracks in games and whatnot, because like you know, on a cart system, like there would be occasional like bad, like on like the Super Star Wars games, like if like when you continued, it's Yoda and he's like, do or do not, there is no try.
Oh, it was like Yoda was right in the room with me.
I know, I'm like a regular Frank Oz.
Frank Oz.
But yeah, like, but then like he would just say things that I just said.
Like there was contact between the cars.
There was definitely contact between the two cars.
Brendan at the end of when he's on the stand, brings up a book that where he theoretically got all of the stuff that he came up with about what happened to Teresa, and I now want to go read the book. But the other thing that it made me think of is did his grandma did Ma Avery read Gone Girl or see the movie, and that's why she suddenly got the idea that spoilers if you haven't seen or read.
If you haven't seen Gone Girl, she sets it up.
Yeah, that Halbach is still alive. I wonder if that's where Ma Avery got the idea for that.
Yeah, I don't think that.
You don't think Teresa? See, that was one thing that I maybe I just missed it. But they did DNA testing on the bone. Is that how they figured out it was her?
Yeah, and the thing is, like, the forensic anthropologist said that the fire pit could not have been hot enough to burn that body.
Right.
To the extent that it was burned.
Yeah.
And so they had they had the FBI there, and the FBI found like traces in, like, I don't know how the fuck they found the traces in that like rock quarry.
Yeah.
How did those traces end up in the rock quarry if everything else was in
the burn pit?
Yeah, why didn't if that's where they burned her, why didn't they fucking leave her there?
Right. Yeah, it's just such a part of what
the fact that they're in the burn pit is evidence that there is to the slightest extent somebody trying to set him up. Yeah. Because like if he didn't burn her there, then why the fuck would he like put her remains in a place that would obviously be his?
Yeah.
His or well, I don't know, whatever.
I don't. The thing that just keeps going. So that's the
Brendan should have just gone trick or treating, and then it would have been all fucking. He was a little old for it, but we went trick or treating when we were 18.
But it was his older brother that went trick or treating, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So why? So Brendan should have just went trick or treating with his older brother, and it would have been.
I was trick or treating.
I was trick or treating, eh?
Yeah.
The whole thing. I mean, I guess maybe I can talk. As I think I said last time, watching the first episode where it was all about the previous crime,
which he definitely didn't
do.
And he had a fucking he had an amazing alibi. Like, people knew exactly where he was for the entire fucking day.
Yeah.
And he had a receipt from, like, really far away from, like, some fucking taco joint or something like that.
But he doesn't have the alibi this time around. Anyway, just...
But the thing is, like, even with that alibi, like, the police were just like, fuck it, no, he did it.
You know he did it.
Because his cousin's fiance is on the force, and we're going to get this guy for jerking off on her hood or whatever the fuck he did.
The question that, I mean, aside from
His giant cock.
Aside from his giant cock, the question of his giant cock. No, the question aside from who killed Hallbeck, if she's still alive, if she is in fact
Probably dead. Because
dead.
I think those cremains, as they kept on calling them, are in fact her.
I don't know, Ma Avery Sway. I mean, no, I'm just kidding.
Maybe she just ripped out all her teeth and her bones. Maybe she went up into space. I heard that you get rid of your bones when you're in space.
I heard that on the television.
You have to get when you come back to the Earth. You have to regrow your bones.
I heard that on the TV. Yeah.
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 You don't want to live up in a space station for too long. You'll be like a Jello person.
Yeah, I heard you. I heard when you're up in space there. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, enough.
You put your bones in the ground there to grow the crops. That's what I saw the Matt Damon do there. Yeah. No. Yeah. No.
So, yeah. What were you saying?
I was trying to make a Martian joke. I'm sorry.
I didn't see it, but I knew what you were doing.
No, what I was trying to say is, and
want some absinthe?
Anybody who knows me and knows my inability to watch things for a long time knows where I'm going with this. But did it have to be 10 hours? Like, was there 10 hours of material?
There was no reason it needed to be that long. It could have been at least 2 episodes shorter.
Yeah.
At least
2 episodes. I mean, some of what, like the stuff that they do there in the final episode, which is all a recap of everything that's happened since the trials. I feel like if you had that kind of a pace
for the entire one.
Well, that and the first episode. The first episode has a fantastic pace, and then see,
that's the problem, that it sucks you in, and you're like, oh, I'm invested in this now, and I'm sitting in through really long episodes.
Right. Well, maybe so. The first episode, I had the reaction of like, well, why am I going to continue to watch? Because it told me the whole story until the very, very end, where it reminds me, no, it's about a murder case, not a rape case. So maybe it's the second episode that kind of sucks me in. But already by the second episode, I'm just like, that could have been. It starts off strong. It's like. Yeah, it's longer than like a Dateline NBC episode, which I think they did one at some point. It's longer than that. It's which sometimes are as long as 2 hours. But 10 hours, and it just, for me, the other thing that it calls to mind is Serial, the podcast. Which
I thought you meant like the breakfast.
No. Count Chocula.
Well, the thing is, it reminds me of a Mitch Hedberg joke, which was like, when you're doing stand-up, you don't you want to start and end strong. You don't want to be like pancakes, which are great at first, but then by the end of it, you're sick of it.
Yes. And it wasn't necessarily that I was, by the middle, I was sick of it. But by the middle, I was too invested. I was like, I need to watch.
I need to eat the rest of these pancakes.
I need to eat the rest of these pancakes.
That's why you only have you get a short stack. You don't get a fucking
short stack with
5 pancakes is too fucking
short
many.
Stack with some blueberries, or like short stack with chocolate chips baked in or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, the hot gooey chips.
Hot gooey chips. There's a place in Chelmsford now. I went with my friend Brendan, not Dassey.
Oh.
And
did you want to seem really intellectually superior?
And we went there for breakfast, and the pancakes, chocolate chip pancakes, were amazing.
Did you eat them Lady in the Tramp style?
Yes. Okay, no. What the hell was I talking?
I don't know.
About length of stuff, and not length of Steve Avery. I can't fucking remember now.
I'm sorry. I got you off track.
No, it's fine. You got me horribly off topic.
No, I did the horribly off topic.
I know, and I was trying to do a not sound like a morning radio DJ version of. I was trying not to do horribly off topic. Like that.
Did you pull your groin?
No. I just. Oh.
Because Steve Avery pulled his groin on the hood of that car.
Serial.
Yes.
Serial is what I was talking about. So the first season of Serial came out, and I'm sure that these people who made Making a Murderer, the documentarians, were well into producing this at that point.
They had already like done all the principal shooting, I'd imagine.
Absolutely,
but they just couldn't sell it to anybody,
right?
Until Serial happened.
Until Serial happens, and now Netflix wants to capitalize on.
They're like, whoa, everybody likes this true crime shit, like, because it was like the most fucking.
It's what brought podcasts back for the third time. Or
what was Mark Maron, and then.
Yeah, Mark Maron getting the president and Serial were like, oh, podcasts.
Yeah.
Which have been around.
The most successful podcast since Horribly Off Topic, Serial.
So Serial, and we've got other stuff to talk about, so I don't want to talk too much about Serial, but one of the, or Serial Season 2, that is, which is an interesting one.
Well, they didn't want to do the exact same thing as they did last time, which is good.
Good, but I think expectations were
that it would be another one of
would either be like a true crime or and that's not what it is. I have not listened since the first episode because it came out at precisely the wrong time. When I'm done with school, my podcast listening drops off a cliff because I don't have a commute.
Yeah, they should, like, if they're gonna have podcasts like that are trying to like rope people in, it should definitely be in between the holidays when there's no fucking television.
Serial. Were you kidding? Or were you not? Were you serious?
No, I'm not kidding at all.
Yeah.
We do it every week, so like everybody gets a taste every fucking week of this awesome shit that we do.
Wasn't a bad time for it. It was a bad time for me to get interested in Serial Season 2 because like I have too many podcasts built
Maybe
up.
if it was the summertime, it would have been better.
Still no. I mean, during the school year, it's pretty much when I'm working, when I have that hour commute, or now it's down a little bit, but when I have that hour commute each way, that's when I listen to my podcasts. And if
you got to listen to this one because
I listened to this one
before you put it out.
Before I put it out,
just to make sure that there's not like things that are terrible on
terrible. Serial
get us sued.
What Serial did that Making a Murderer doesn't do, by virtue of the fact of how Netflix works, is Serial is called Serial, and it comes out once a week. And part of the way it gets you hooked is by making you come back every week, right? And by only asking you to dedicate an hour of your week every week. Sometimes it was shorter even. Serial was one of the things I liked about Serial Season 1 was that it was never longer than it needed to be.
We should change our opening to be like that piano, like dun 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 boom 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 dun 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 dun. Hi, this is Horribly Off Topic, a story told once a week with two assholes.
Can we use that next week?
You're gonna have to put the music behind it.
I know, but how would I don't know how I would keep our traditional intro music, and I guess it would fade. I don't know. We'll have to think about it. At any rate, that's what I feel. And Making a Murderer suffers from the fact that you can, and because we've all been trained by Netflix to binge watch, you're going to just keep watching the next episode.
You know what Netflix does? You know, when you watch another one, it says, good, you're good boy. Bringing it back, buddy.
The Patriots are going to the AFC Championship game for the 5th year in a row, Steve.
Wow, that's
because
impressive.
They won yesterday.
They certainly did.
I didn't start that off by saying, how did the Patriots cheat this week?
They definitely, I don't know, like, I watched the entire game. This is like one of the first times this season that I've watched an entire game.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I maybe watched one other game from start to finish.
Yeah.
And I don't see how they cheated.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, here's the thing.
There's something that I was going to tweet but didn't, and it was, "Get that fucking guy," said some guy at the bar. You know who that some guy was?
Me.
It was me.
The only way that I can see that they cheated was that it's injury week in the NFL, Steve.
And we're less injured than we normally.
Injured. We had all of our people back.
Well, yeah, because we didn't fucking send them in the end of the season when we knew we already had clinched a playoff spot, and we're just like, okay, let's just throw Brady in, I guess, for
shits and giggles.
Yeah, and then just play a football game.
Yeah, there was times at the down the stretch where like it was obvious they should not have been putting Brady in because we were gonna, especially in that last game. It's like they should have pulled him out.
and we were going to
Gave
lose.
the backup a little bit of time to see what he can do.
Yeah,
So, just in case Brady isn't able to play football anymore at
Right.
some point, that we have
somebody.
we can
Yeah.
kind of mold somebody like we did with Brady,
Right.
like after Bledsoe went out and we won our first Super Bowl, and
Yeah. It's we didn't want to be on a total down here, but yeah, at some point they do have to address the fact that Brady is 38. 38?
Wow.
Yeah.
38. Woohoo!
He'll be
38.
39 in a few months. And yeah, they have to address that at some point.
Like I mean, somebody that's around our age. I mean, that's not completely unreasonable for them still to be a sports person, especially if they take care of their body,
Right.
like Brady does, and
Yeah.
like eat the right things.
I think it's
and-
Giselle that takes care of his body, Steve.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
and his
shit.
Huge Steve Avery like cock.
Is Avery equipped the same as like Avery dumb? Like Tom Brady is Avery equipped.
Yeah, I think
Andy Reid is Avery dumb.
I think every like IQ point that he lost, he got an inch of dick. So it's probably 6 feet long. It's bigger than he is tall.
And that's why it looks like he's gained weight over the years.
Yeah,
It's
that's
he's
just
got
his
the
cock wrapped
curl.
around his body. You should be careful when he gets a hard on because it spins around like a belt would, like off of his body, and then like hits you right in the fucking face.
And he tries to tell people about it so he won't be convicted for illegal touching.
He's like,
Wait,
well-
no, that's the NFL illegal thing. That's one of those strange.
Are we talking about Avery? Or are we talking about Brady?
We're talking about illegal touching is one of the strangest penalties in the NFL. Like when
Someone tries to put like fingers in a butt.
it's when Steve Avery touches you with his cock.
Oh, okay.
No,
from half a mile away.
from all the way in Wisconsin. But his team doesn't need to worry because his team is out of the playoffs. Assuming he's a Packers fan.
Oh, the Packers already lost.
Packers lost last night. Packers
who?
lost last night to the Cardinals, apparently in overtime on a really weird coin flip in which the coin did not flip. I did not see video of this, but the way it's described is that the referee threw it into the air and then it did not flip and it just came back down the exact same. I guess it was heads, and I might be getting this wrong. Let's say it was heads. The Packers called tails, figuring it would flip, and it went up into the air heads, and it just plummeted right back down to the ground.
So we must have lost the coin toss because we
did.
started the game.
We had the ball at the start of the game.
And I'm like, whoa, we didn't cheat that way.
I know.
Or maybe we did.
Maybe we
wanted to go first
did.
and we intentionally lost the coin flip.
We were
we
trying-
would do the thing that we didn't want to do.
We intentionally lost the coin flip so that we would confuse Andy Reid, and Andy Reid at the end of the game would mismanage the clock. Andy Reid is the head coach of the Chiefs there. He would mismanage the clock and throw away their chance to tie the ball game and send it into overtime.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, the thing is, what I want to talk about is that at the very end of the game,
Yes.
or every third down, actually, that the Patriots had, they could not seem to stop them, and they could not seem to say. It was like I was having.
Are you talking Patriots on defense or offense?
Patriots on defense?
Okay, yeah.
Every fucking time we were third, they were third and whatever, or
Yeah.
like at the end of the game it was fourth and eight,
Yeah.
I think, that they went for it. Which, why not? Fucking,
Mm-hmm.
and they fucking made it.
Yeah.
But like every time it was in that situation, there was like the quarterback was under extreme pressure. He was running around like a fucking maniac. But somehow I was having like PTSD of fucking Eli Manning.
Yeah.
Fucking like escaping the pocket and somehow not getting sacked.
Right.
And then hucking the ball in the air and it's somehow finding a receiver. And I was like, fuck, what?
Yeah.
It would happen almost every time. And I'm like, how is this fucking possible?
Right. But then I was feeling the exact same way, and then what happened is another one of those classic role reversals that's happened over the last year of the Patriots, where like winning that Super Bowl last February was
The exact opposite of what had happened
yes,
to us.
was because there was and it happened right after a couple of circus catches.
Yeah.
That the Butler did it and we won. Well, yesterday when the Patriots won, the one miscue, or not even a miscue. It's not. No. Okay. So what I'm thinking of is when Brady. Basically, the Chiefs had all 3 timeouts, and and all the Patriots had to do to win the game was get a first down. Because if they got a first down, they could run out the clock.
Yeah.
And Brady has gotten to, I don't know if he was on 3rd down when he did this or what, but he's got to throw the ball and he's got to try to get the first down. And it bounces off a defender, goes right past Gronkowski and falls into, I think it was Edelman's hands.
Yeah.
And that was the type of catch that usually happens against us.
Yes.
Not for us. So that was a place where I was like, wow.
But what I'm saying is that it never even should have gotten to that point. Because we had that game handily, and then we just kept on saying, do you want to fucking come back? Do you want to do this?
But to be fair, neither defense was able to stop the other team on 3rd down for most of the first 3 quarters of the game.
Actually, we were better at it the first quarter.
Yeah.
We did a much better job of
we
holding
were keeping them to field goals.
Yes, until...
But they were getting close enough to get field goals.
Yes, but we still stopped them from getting touchdowns.
Right. And they only got 1 touchdown.
Yes, but
no, and I'm saying all of this not to sound like the Patriots homer here. I was just as nervous as it sounds like you were. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
All right. Okay, do your Al Pacino impression then.
No. By devil's advocate, I mean I should be hired.
No, I want to see you do your Al Pacino impression.
Represent Brendan Dassey. And
Look,
Steve
but don't touch. Touch, but don't taste.
They are the devil, right? The devil oh no, wait. Brendan's not the devil incarnate. It's Steve that's the devil incarnate.
Me?
Because he's got a big cock. No.
Oh.
Steve Avery. He's the devil
It's
incarnate.
definitely not me having a big cock.
He's the devil incarnate, and so I'm auditioning here for the role of devil's advocate. I want to represent Mr. Avery.
You are not a lawyer.
I once did when I was between.
I took a law course once.
When I was between jobs.
Are you a what is it? A clerk? Law clerk?
Well, that is my last name.
Clerk.
Clock. No, so when I was between jobs, my second job out of college, we got acquired, and then our unit of the business got shut down. They gave us not a golden parachute, but let's say a bronze parachute. We got a really nice
parachute.
Yes, we got a really nice severance package, including training and assessment and a lot of good stuff. And I took an assessment that said I would actually be really good as a lawyer.
Really?
Maybe not a trial lawyer, but that based on answers I provided, that law might be the place for me to go.
Well, maybe you should be a lawyer.
I should move up there to Wisconsin and...
Don't go to Wisconsin.
No.
Maybe just practice law in the state that you live.
Perhaps. I have a friend who basically followed almost that same path. He was a writing and theater major in college. He went off and got his MFA, which is exactly what I did, and then he went off and got his law degree, and now he practices law.
Really? Like in what vein?
That's a good question. I think he does mostly. I don't know what
criminal law.
No, I think he advocates for people who are. I don't know what this means, but people who are down on their luck. That's my impression.
That seems like a fucking waste of time. People who are down on their luck should stay down on their luck. Fucks.
Where did you watch the Patriots game yesterday?
We
Steve?
watched it. We watched it at a place called the Tanner Tavern in downtown Woburn.
Getting local for you.
There you go.
Yeah, I know.
Fucking groin grabs again.
Groin grab could be like Michael Deck getting local for you. No, I didn't grab my groin.
Wow. Should I go?
No. I'm sorry. I'm in a weird place today, and weird shit is coming out.
Of your butt.
Weird shit has come to light. No, so you were at the tavern.
You got Tanner Tavern,
surrounded by, as I understand it, young people and shitty people.
I wouldn't say entirely shitty people. There were like nice people there.
Yes, you and
like
Becky.
Our server was very nice.
Okay,
she was very pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
She was very. She was very good at getting us beers.
Right, good at her job.
She was very good at her job. She did, and she was pleasant in the interim, which is good. I mean, and there was the other servers were nice. There were some of the other patrons that were nice. I don't understand why people bring children to bars, and like
It's strange.
you don't do this.
I
You're
don't
not
do that.
You're not a kind of guy that goes to bars in general anyways,
Right, no.
but I don't like, even if you were, I don't think you'd be the kind of person that would bring your
No.
children there.
Yeah.
And like it baffles my mind because like I am the kind of person that swears a lot, and when I'm in a bar environment, I feel comfortable in doing so,
Right,
Because that's the kind of place where you can and you should be able to curse vehemently, especially at a television broadcast of a football game.
Right. Because if you're not doing that, you are ignoring your responsibilities as an American.
Yes, and a sports fan. That was really good.
That was one of the most well-timed belches in the history of the show.
So okay, so we're, like, I think despite the fact that the people with children were nearby, I think they realized how I was being loud and swearing, but I wasn't doing it. I wasn't being loud and sweary because they were there, and I think they realized that, and then they ended up moving tables like further away.
Right.
And I'm like, that is sort of responsible parenting. Like, we may be irresponsible by bringing these children to a bar, but we are being sort of responsible by taking them away from that asshole.
Right.
And I realize in this situation I'm the asshole, but guess
you're
what?
not
in
really.
the situation, in the area that I'm in, I expect that I shouldn't have to worry about my language.
Right. Yeah.
Like
A
at
bar
least not like I couldn't like walk up to a stranger and call them a cunt and expect not a repercussion to happen.
Yeah.
What I do expect is I can yell at a television that's nearby and maybe say other curse words and not have any sort of repercussions.
Right. A bar is for grown-ups.
Yes.
Yes.
I think so. There was times where my mother would bring me to a bar when I was a kid, and like I thought it was weird because I would like it because sometimes there'd be like a pinball machine.
Right, yeah.
Maybe that's why I'm so into pinball, because my parents would just bring me to
Bring you
bars.
to the bar and you have nothing else to do.
Can I have some quarters? So because I can't drink this alcohol that you guys are all fucking enjoying.
Right.
So I guess I gotta play this pinball machine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or Pac-Man or some other fucking thing, or billiards, or none of which I'm any good at, I think. How is it that I didn't manage to pick up any skills along the way is beyond me.
Beyond me too.
But then like the irresponsible, responsible parents are gone, and I have no qualms with them. I just have I question when a parent would do that.
Yeah.
And then there's this guy, or this table of people that I think that are slightly older than us. I think maybe early 40s.
Okay. Yeah.
Sitting right in front of us, and most of them seem pretty normal. I guess they're doing their yapping and blah blah blah. Becky had a little story about two people. I don't think they were sitting at that particular table, but she went to the restroom and she heard these two women talking about sending their kids, like very young, to baby yoga. And she was like, if we ever have kids, we're never sending them to baby yoga. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Maybe baby yoga would be good for them.
Are you playing the contrarian at that point?
I don't know if maybe it would be good. That you get a lot of good muscle by doing yoga. I don't know, starting them off right with an exercise regimen, infancy. Doing yoga, like downward dog and like the palm tree or whatever other fucking yoga moves there are.
Wasn't that one of those things that Ken Kratz asked the woman to do with some downward dog?
Yeah, he was just like, I
am the prosecutor.
I have like a house that is apparently worth like a 2-bedroom in Massachusetts is
I have
worth.
the $300,000 house, and wouldn't you like to do some downward dog? I am the prize.
We should just move to fucking like Wisconsin, because if you can get like a really big house for $300,000,
No shit.
we should fucking move there.
Yeah.
Are there any jobs there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eh?
No.
Oh shit.
So yeah. What the fuck? Oh yeah. So yeah, but then they were all sort of normal-ish, if not vapid.
Yeah.
And And I'm only slightly annoyed by them, and so I'm completely like occasionally seeing them and just like, and then I made a look that also can't be translated over the air.
I was gonna say I don't have a like.
It wasn't like
translation. Like I can say wink when you wink. How do I say that?
Subtle disgust, I think,
Subtle
was the look in my
disgust.
face, and then but it wasn't extreme disgust. And then so I would look at them occasionally and just be like subtly disgusted by them.
Yeah.
And then move back over to the TV to watch the football game and being
Right.
like, yeah, fuck, yeah, football, yay. And then there was the guy that was sitting almost directly in front of us. Every time but he also looked like he would be a problem if you confronted him.
Oh, okay.
Like, so we didn't say anything, but we kept on like rectifying his actions when he would. So whenever he would get up, he would always push his chair like out too far.
Yeah.
And also like he would kind of like use the other chair that was next to him to get up, and he'd also push that out too far. And I'm like, I don't know if he's doing this as sort of a power thing.
Right,
Because
right.
he's like, I'm going to make you guys go around my fucking chair. And like every time one of us would either go up to the bathroom or whatever, and it was mostly Becky because she had broken the seal.
Yeah. Rookie mistake.
And so she would push the chair back in when she'd
Why
walk
did
by.
I say rookie?
Yeah, goddamn rookie.
Goddamn
with
rookie.
her urinating.
Sorry, Becky.
I don't think she cares.
I know. I'm like, why did I say rookie?
No, but like, so yeah, she would push the chair back in. I'm like, and one time she actually gave him a look because he was coming back in.
Yeah.
How would you
describe that look?
It was sort of like, fucking push a chair and dick move. I didn't actually see the look because it wasn't at me.
Okay. All right, got
so
it.
I'm assuming that's the kind of look but she said I
Got it.
gave that guy a look.
Okay.
And so hopefully, well, he wasn't as bad. He actually moved to the other side for a little bit.
Okay.
The other side of the table. And I was like, oh, maybe you scared him a little bit.
Maybe.
Darling. But he came back and did his same old shit. And I was just like, the thing is, like, we were sitting in, like, because it was a table that had, like, the booth part.
Yeah.
And the booth part is facing all the televisions.
Right.
And then there's two regular chairs that are on the other side, which are completely pushed in because we're not sitting in them. Mm-hmm. Now, when there would be people sitting in them, if fucking Chair McGee had just pushed his chair out like he did, it would be hitting the back of the chair, and no one would be able to get by. But in the instance where we're both sitting on the same side of the table so we can watch the game,
Yeah.
it's not an issue, and people can get by when he's being a dick. But, like, I don't know. I'm just saying, push in your fucking chair.
Push in your fucking chair.
Like, I even do that, like, when I'm at work. And no one goes into my cubicle
But you just
to
do
get
it because,
behind where my chair is.
because it's your responsibility as an American.
And it's more probably OCD than anything else, and I think that's probably why it was bothering me. But it was also bothering Becky, and she's not OCD, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe she just thinks it's polite to push in your chair.
Push in your
and
chair.
I agree. I
She
agree with that.
understands the right way to do things.
All right, so there's that.
There is that.
There's that guy. But then there was also just there was this round booth sitting right next to us.
Right.
And a bunch of younger, I want to say early 20s, maybe just turned 21.
Right.
Like a group of fucking.
So these are the rookies.
the rookies.
These are the people about to make a rookie mistake.
Sure, Chris.
Should I leave?
No. So they sit down.
Okay.
And they're just like all like insanely skinny. And I ended up tweeting something about it because I had watched that documentary on HBO, which was the heroin documentary, which is based in Cape Cod, and it's just a bunch of people doing heroin and dying.
I should
and
watch
or
that.
disappearing. Oh yeah, it's a real fucking makes you really want to.
Well, I like stuff about Cape Cod, but I don't think I generally know about that side of Cape Cod. So
Well, apparently it's new, and because basically the whole reason why heroin has exploded in the last couple of years is because like people are addicted to OxyContin or other over the counter
Right.
Opiates.
yeah.
And they're just like, I can't get this. Like, I can't get my doctor to write a prescription for this anymore.
So I'll
and
start
so I
doing
got to try to get it illegally. And then they try to get it illegally, and it's way too expensive. They're like, well, there's heroin,
Right.
which is significantly less expensive, and it's the same thing. So
Right.
why don't I just do that? And then these kids fucking get addicted to smack, and then either die or somehow get off of it.
Right.
And most of the time, it's die.
So are you thinking that these young skinny kids that enter the bar are like heroin addicts?
I like when I see somebody that like maybe just being a chubby person in general. When I see skinny people, I'm like, is this person anorexic? Is this
Right.
person like on cocaine or heroin?
Yeah.
Because like I'm like how like it's like I work hard to be this much of a mess. Like at this point in my life, I walk at least 5 miles a day.
Yeah.
And like it doesn't apparently do anything for
Doesn't
me.
do a lot for me either.
And
so.
it's just like, what the fuck? When I see people that are fucking skinny, I'm like,
And not these folks were not skinny with like musculature, just like
no
skin,
muscle.
like real thin.
Yeah,
Okay.
this was not like the guy on the fucking Daily Burn ad on every fucking the fucking Hulu when I'm watching a show. It's
Yeah.
like this guy with a fucking bird tattoo on his neck. He's like, well, you should fucking do Daily Burn and fucking half an hour a day. He doesn't say fucking. You're gonna be great, and it's just like you could do it, man, or some shit. Like it aggravates me. Bird neck.
All right. So these guys, these kids, not frequenters of the gym, more likely frequenters of the
smack.
dealer. Yeah.
So I can't say that these people are, and this is probably just me being ageist because I saw this documentary about young people dying of heroin overdoses,
Right.
And I'm like, I assume every young person that's skinny that I see is fucking on heroin,
I was on heroin. Yeah.
and that the fact that because I am starting to become an age where I hate everyone, not that I was never not that age,
Yeah.
but like
I don't know if that age lasts that long. Here's the thing. So as everyone knows, I listen to too much Patton Oswalt, but I also listen to the podcaster that I listen to most frequently is this guy named Merlin Mann.
You have mentioned him before. Please elaborate.
I mentioned him on the very first episode, I think.
Yes.
At any rate, both I'm thinking of a Patton Oswalt bit from his most recent album, and then a thing that Merlin said. They're both about the same age.
They're
middle
older
to
than us.
middle to late 40s or early 50s. I don't think they either of them.
I think they're in their
crossed over into
40s,
50. Middle to late 40s, let's say. And I feel like they were in exactly the same position that you're in and that I'm kind of in, of like hating everybody. But within a few years, like Merlin, he's not a big believer in New Year's resolutions, but he's kind of made it his goal to use the word hate less. And then there's the Patton Oswalt bit on the most recent. And continue to use it where it actually is something he hates, but not to use it for something that's just kind of like, I dislike this, which I think is an interesting psychological trick. But Patton also, on his most recent record, talks about...
I like how you call it a record as if he had a vinyl press of it.
He talks about in his most recent album the notion of not hating music anymore, of like... People
I
actually
saw his most recent, what would
Yeah,
probably have been on the album.
Yeah, I think
I
the
haven't heard
special-
the album, but I actually saw
I
him.
actually think the album is just the audio of the special, because.
No, I mean I saw him at the Wilbur.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
I am
probably
assuming
the
this
same.
is the same material he used in
Same
the most
material, yeah.
recent.
At any rate, like I think that's interesting because I'm with you. Like I'm in the whole like I kind of hate everything and everybody at this particular age, but I feel like I look at these guys who are like 5, maybe 10 years older, and say, oh, like maybe this.
Yeah, I don't
like,
hate the immediate generation, not like people that are like a little bit older than us. I don't hate them.
Yeah, no, I don't hate them.
And it's just like elderly people. Just a lot of times, I don't want to say that I hate them, but like I don't consider myself to be sexist. I don't consider myself to be racist, but I'm definitely ageist. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
Like young people like fucking infuriate me. Like to like steam coming out of my ears levels. And like, you know, like sometimes just not to as much of an extreme, but elderly people, like a lot of people are like, oh, that's the, you know, the sweet old grandmother. But a lot of times, like, you know, you will encounter, or sometimes you will encounter the nice old person. But working in retail for as long as I did,
You encounter a lot.
I encountered a
shitty
lot of
people.
shitty elderly people,
Yeah.
like that were just fucking angry.
Let me
at
ask
me.
you. Let me ask you this, because we're running.
And when I would encounter a nice old person, it would actually make my day.
it would make your day, yeah.
Because I was like, holy shit, that person wasn't shitty to me for
Yeah.
a change.
What did the skinny young heroin addicts that came into the bar last night? What did
Okay.
they do aside from being skinny and young and looking
They
like
were
heroin
just
addicts
they were just kind of
to
like
aggravate you?
They just seemed to be privileged.
In what way?
I don't know. They were just like, oh, we're sitting here and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And okay, I haven't worked in a restaurant, but I do understand the workings of a restaurant.
Right.
So if you sit at a table,
Yes.
you have a waitress or a waiter or some sort of wait person.
Yes, wait staff.
Wait staff. There's going to be somebody that is going to be serving you.
Right.
When you are no longer sitting at that table, which is what they did, they just moved it to the bar, which I was glad of. I was very glad because they were sort of loud and stupid and fucking. I'm using this word again, vapid, and just very self-involved, and just they went over to the end of the bar and being completely inconsiderate to the person that was serving them at that point.
Right.
Because
And as you've established, the people in the restaurant were all, for the most part, at least how you described it, all very good at their jobs and very pleasant.
like,
And so you're kind of on their side.
yeah, I'm like, it makes me aggravated that they're being, that they are, I mean, as much as I wanted them to go away,
Yeah.
that the wait person for that table, who was a woman, so
Yeah.
the waitress for that table
Yeah.
was going to lose some money because they moved over to the bar.
Right.
And like it was well, I don't even know if these fucking people would have even tipped her. So maybe it was all for the best.
Yeah, because then maybe she gets somebody else at the table who is going to tip, and maybe she.
I mean, there was some people there when we first got there, and they were a little bit older, and they were fine.
Yeah.
And they I think maybe gave me a couple of sidelong glances.
Yeah.
As like, what's up with this guy's mouth, and why do obscenities constantly stream from it?
I gather that it was not a great night. Well, maybe I don't know.
I thought it was going to be a lot more busy.
Yeah.
It wasn't super busy there.
Well, this is what I'm saying. So somebody that I follow on Twitter, she's a writer, but she currently works as a wait person out in Portsmouth somewhere, I think.
New Hampshire?
Or in that area.
I said the right city or the right state.
And she tweeted that, like, because of the game, in terms of like the level of business is way down.
Oh, because everybody's watching at home.
Because everyone's home watching the game.
Oh, because we did the opposite. We're like, we don't want to watch this at home. Let's go
Yeah.
out and let's go to downtown.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And so she, who relies on tips, was hurting last night. So I'm sorry to hear that there were young entitled
stupid assholes,
douchebags.
I'm sure I seem like an asshole, entitled ass, because I think that like only people that are my age and not shitty should be around me. But whatever,
Whatever.
It's my own fault for going out and trying to enjoy a football game in a place that isn't my home.
Well, Steve, I have news for you.
What's that? We're done? We're way over?
We are at 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 45 seconds.
Wow, good. That means we can wrap up.
We can wrap up. We maybe next week we can talk about Alan Rickman, who passed away this week.
We can say rest in peace, Alan Rickman.
Yes, we can say rest in peace.
I don't want to say this, but
At the
whatever.
end
I'm going to fucking say it.
I shouldn't have brought it up. Sorry.
I'm going to say it. Like he might have just gotten his just desserts for killing Dumbledore.
He might. He might have.
I'm actually joking. The guy was a really great actor.
Oh
and
God, such a good. Yeah. Well,
I don't remember him in too much before Dogma, but I think Dogma was the first thing he started to be on my radar.
on your radar. Well, lots of people know him from Die Hard, which turns out was his.
But the thing is, like, I was too young to watch
too.
it
Yeah, I
the
didn't-
first time through, and then like I saw it after. I'm like, oh, that's that guy.
Yeah, he was 42 at the time. His first job his first film job Die Hard. And the thing that I know him from, and then we'll wrap up here, is the other. Do you remember Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves?
I never saw that movie.
Oh my God. So some people hate this movie, especially because Kevin Costner doesn't make any attempt at a British accent, which I think is probably a good thing.
Because he probably couldn't have done it, yeah.
It's such a classic campy movie. Not even campy.
Unlike some Robin Hoods, I can talk in a British accent.
I loved that movie, and I loved Alan Rickman in that movie. Alan Rickman plays the Sheriff of Nottingham, and he is creepy as fuck. And
he is creepy as fuck.
I tried to figure it out the other day. I was a little bit older. I shouldn't have been as creeped out by it as I was. But he's got some scenes with Maggie Smith where she's playing this creepy old witch, and he is a devil worshiper, and it is fucked up.
Maggie Smith, like McGarnacle?
Yeah.
Or Professor Hardcastle McCormick?
Yes. At any rate, rest in peace, Alan Rickman. That's all we have to say about that. So, should we wrap up and plug?
Yes. Wrap up and plug your butt
should
with
plug like Stephen Avery plugging you all the way from the Wisconsin correctional facility. I don't know where he goes.
Because his dick has grown.
Because his dick has grown
immeasurably.
All the way to Massachusetts. You can find the show notes for this episode at clarkwoods.com/hot/77.
Yeah.
And if you have comments on any of the wonderful knowledge we have dropped on your stupid asses today, your Avery dumb asses, you can send us an email.
Dumb. Dude, you are fucking Avery Dassey dumb, yo.
Avery dumb. Avery Dassey dumb. Is that Avery /Dassey hyphen dumb, or is it Avery Dassey dumb?
But you don't need to go into it that much.
You can send us an email to tell us what you think. hot@clarkwoods.com is the email address. Twitter
at Tuesday is loser. That's Tuesday. IS loser. The word Tuesday. The word is IS. The word loser. All one word smushed together at Tuesday is loser. Fucking together. Idiots. Fucking follow me. I want 100 followers for fuck's sake.
And Steve had some great tweets over the last little while, and we're not repeating any of them today because if you want Steve's tweets, you need to go fucking follow him.
No, well, I did talk about one of them.
Did you? But you didn't quote it, did you?
No.
If you want the actual tweet instead of Steve sort of talking about it, you want the genuine article.
Yeah, you want the genuine article of something that's kind of not so funny, but when I talk about it on the show in more than 140 characters, it can actually be sort of funny. I'm not funny on Twitter. I'm not. But follow me so you know when I post the show. Or when Chris posts the show. And I talk about it the day after.
Right. Or when Steve finds a transponder snail. You can find me. You can find me on Twitter at ECC1977. And I am not funny on Twitter either.
It's okay. Neither of us are. And yeah. I say that I'm a comedian.
You do. I say that you're a comedian in the description of the show. It's writer, author E. Christopher Clark, and comedian Stephen Woodbury.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Eh?
No!